Uh, Basically, it's going to be anything from opportunity identification, uh, identifying people's target markets, their target customers, developing business with those targeted customers in the government, right? If it's a contract officer or anything like that, if you're trying to scope people out, give them suggestions to the government from industry during a pre-solicitation or a source of sought, anything you can do to give a company a competitive advantage. So that's kind of a long list of things, but that's more or less what I do. It's really competitive. It's very competitive. It's very complex. It's not straightforward at all, but you're going to burn a lot of time getting up, learning the ropes, to win your first contract. Because I want to say it's 14 months on average if you know what you're doing or you have somebody who knows what they're doing on your team. The average is 14 months because the Department of Defense, there's the main players are called the primes, the large defense primes. Okay. And there's a lot there, there's a lot of large businesses. But the thing is, when you become large, that I've seen things get really hard. You're not a small business anymore. You can still make an enormous amount of money as a small business. Okay. You capture that opportunity and you give it to somebody who can. This is something like large businesses want to hear. Well, really any business would want to hear that. But as a consultant, I mean, this is what I do. A lot of it is sales. So now you're not just there touching the roof. You have a pretty wide scope to offer, a wide scope of services to offer the government and to a prime. All right. So you don't just say, oh, we only do the roof. We don't do gutters and downspouts, and we don't, we're not ripping the solar off and disposing of it. Well, now that prime general contractor has to go find other contractors who do those little pieces that you can't do, rather than just being turnkey and expanding your scope to NAICS codes that touch what it is you do. You're turnkey now. You can provide them a quote, for everything, and whatever you don't do, you subcontract it out, but still you're doing the legwork, running it down, and you're providing that into their quote because they're going to pay with time or they're going to pay with money, probably going to pay with both. So it really makes sense to hire somebody who knows the culture, preferably who knows procurement, knows how to sell, and knows business development, that can also do proposals somewhat, or at least know what's attractive to a technical evaluation team. You get a monthly retainer, but then you would get, say, 2% of gross contract value. So if it's $1 million contract, you get, 2% of a million, as it's not a commission, it'd be like a consulting fee because some of these you can't have a commission. So you get paid to win contracts. That's how you really get paid. So a lot of these mistakes that new companies coming into the market make, I can just nix it right there and just be like, hey, from my professional experience, that is not going to win. I know that would fly on the outside, on the private side, right? Because in my opinion, government contracting is the most difficult. It's the most money, but it's the most difficult. So it makes sense.